In exercise questions from 1 to 6, determine the limit of the given function. And this one is an easy function that you should figure it out by through 1 or 2 seconds. For example, the first one, limit of x approaches 5 or tends to 5, and x is equal to 5. When the function is 7, we know that 7 is a constant function. F of x is equal to 7 is a linear function represented by straight line parallel to the x-axis. And any point on the x-axis, its corresponding value or its range will be the same value of 7 at the y-axis. So this function is constant, which is equal to 7 for any functions. For any value of x, even x tends to 0, x tends to 1, x tends to 5, it's a constant function. The second one, limit of x tends to 2 for x. So all what I have to do is to replace x with 2, so the answer is 2. And that's it. And to remind you, f of x is equal x is represented by a straight line, passes through the origin, and y is equal to x on it. The third one, limit of x tends to half for x squared. So I'm going to replace x with half, so half squared, which is equal to quarter. Number 4, limit of x tends to negative half for x squared, so it's negative half to the power of 2, which is also quarter. Let me also remind you that the graph of the second degree is represented by a parabola open upward, and if half is here and negative half is there, negative half and half, both of them give me the same intersection point, which is quarter on the y-axis. Number 5, x tends to 0 or x approaches 0 for 1 minus x. So 1 minus 0 to the power of 100, which is 1 to the power of 100, which is equal to 1. For number 6, limit of x tends to 0 for x minus 1 all to the power of 101. So 0 minus 1 to the power of 101. So it's negative and the power is odd. The power is odd. So it will keep the sign of the value, which is negative, so it's negative 1. So here, what I wanted to find is find the limit, and I'm going to use substitution. So all what I have to do is plug in x with negative half to the power of 2, multiply by 2, multiply by negative half, minus 1. So it's equal to 3 multiplied by quarter, multiply negative 1 multiplied by negative 2, which is equal, yes, 2 by 2, negative 1, negative 1, negative 2, negative 2 by 3 is negative 6 over 4, which is negative 3 over 2. This is for the first one. For the second one, I'm going to plug in x with negative 4. So negative 4 plus 3 to the power of 1998. So it's negative 1, and the power is even, so it doesn't matter what the power is. Is it 2? Is it million? Is it 2 million? Is it 1998? Is it 2020? 2022? So negative and the power is even is give me 1. Finally, limit of x tends to 1 for x power 3 plus 3x squared minus 2x minus 17. So I'm going to plug x with 1. So it's a 3 times 1 to the power of 2 minus 2 multiplied by 1 minus 17, which is equal 1 plus 3 minus 2 minus 17, which is minus 19, plus 4 minus 19 plus 4 is negative 15. Minus 19 plus 4 is negative 15. I'm still working in substitution, so all what I have to do is to plug in y with 2. So 2 squared, 5 multiplied by 2 plus 6 over 2 plus 2, and 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, and 4 plus 10 plus 6, which is 20, over 4, which is equal to 5. For the second one, y is equal to negative 3. So negative 3 squared minus 3, and negative 3 squared plus 4 multiplied by negative 3 plus 3, which is equal 9 minus 3, and 9 minus 12 plus 3, which is equal to 0 over 6, which is equal to 0. So sometimes the limit is equal to 0, and 0 is a value. Now, the meaning of integer x, or the function integer x, is what is the whole number that you are passing through before you are reach half. What is the greatest whole number you are passing through before you are reach half? For example, if you draw the number line here, here is negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. Half is here, right? So for integer half, you are going to write integer half. Integer half, which is here, so while you are coming from the left, what is the greatest value passing through before you reach half is 0. Greatest integer as a whole number. But what if it was 1.9, for example, integer 1.9? It's going to be 1. Because the greatest number you pass it through was 1. We are not approximated here. For number 13, I'm going to replace x with negative 2. So negative 2 minus 6 to the power of 2 over 3, which is negative 8 to the power of 2 over 3. So it's a cubic root of negative 8 square. And you can write it as cubic root of negative 8 to the power of 2. Cubic root of negative 8 is negative 2 to the power of 2 is 4. Is what is 4. Finally, root of x plus 3, so it's root of 2 plus 3, which is equal to root 5. And I'm going to keep it as a radical form. So sometimes the limits could be 0. Sometimes the limits could be radical form. Sometimes the limits is a whole number. In limits of the function, limit of any function f of x, when x tends to a constant value, you are expecting to reach one of the answers. After substitution, so you start with the first step by substitution. If it give you 1 over 2, 3 over 4, negative 3 over 4, give you a value, this value belongs to the rational or real values, so you figure out the answer. If it gives you 0 or 0 over 7 or 0 over negative 2 or whatever, 0 is a value. If it gives you 7 over 0 or 2 over 0, it does not exist. Does not exist. And I mean by does not exist that the function is not exist. But finally, if it gives you 0 over 0, it means that this function needs to be solved. And the first step, not all the steps, is factorization. Another step could be the division by long division or synthetic division. Another step could be the conjugate, multiply by the conjugate value up and down. So again, after you substitute in the limit of the function, if you figure out a value, okay, thank you, this is the right answer. If it gives you 0, 0 is a value. If it gives you something divided by 0, 0 in the denominator, it does not exist. But in case of 0 over 0, it means that this is a sign that you need to solve the function. And we have many methods. One of them is the factorization or the division or the conjugate to solve the functions and to find its limit. Determine the limit of the given. Limit of x minus 1 over x squared minus 1. First, I will start by substitution. So it's 1 minus 1 over 1 squared minus 1, which is equal to 0 over 0. Since it's 0 over 0, so I need to solve the function or simplify the function. And the easiest method is using factorization. So I'm going to write it as limit of x tends to 1 for x minus 1 over x squared minus 1. This is, we call the difference of two squares. Difference of two squares, which is x minus 1 and x plus 1. So by cancelling x minus 1 with x plus minus 1, so extend this or approaches 1 for 1 over x plus 1. Plug in x with 1, so the answer will be half. So limit of x tends to 1 for the function x minus 1 over x squared minus 1 is equal to 0.5 or half. For the second one, limit of t approaches 2 for t squared minus 3t plus 2 over t squared minus 4. If I'm going to plug in the value of t, so 2 square minus 3 times 2 plus 2 over 2 square minus 4, which is equal 0 over 0, because this is 4 plus 2 6 and 3 by 2 6. So I need to use factorization, or I need to simplify the function. Down this in the denominator, this is a difference of two squares, which is t minus 2 and t plus 2. In the numerator, I'm going to open two brackets. Last sign is positive, so both of the sign has the middle, which is negative. 2 is 1 and 2, because 1 by 2 is 2 and the sum is 1. And here is t and here is t. Here is limit of x approaches 2. So it's equal, by cancelling t minus 2 is t minus 2, limit of t tends to 2 for t minus 1 over t plus 2, which is equal 2 minus 1 over 2 plus 2, which is equal to 1 over 4. So the right answer is quarter. To find the limit of x tends to 0 for 5x power 3 plus 8x, I will plug in, I will find that the answer is 0 over 0. So I need to find a method of working. So I will take the method of highest common factor to simplify this one. So the highest common factor up is x squared, so the remainder is 5x plus 8. And the highest common factor down is x squared, and the remainder is 3x squared minus 16. By cancelling x squared with x squared, so the remainder is 5, limit of x tends to 0 for 5x plus 8 over 3x squared minus 16. So let's plug in x with 0. So 5 multiplied by 0 plus 8 over 3 multiplied by 0 squared minus 16, which is 8 over negative 16, which is negative 1 over 2. So after plugging in x with 0, I will find an answer of 0 over 0, so I will not be able to solve the question. So I gotta think of something to work with to solve this one. So I'm going to think of making same denominator up. So it's 1 over 2 plus x minus 1 over 2. I don't have same denominator, but I have a rule which says that a over b plus c over d is equal bd ad plus bc. So I can apply it to the numerator. I have a new denominator, 2 multiply 2 plus x, up 2 minus 2 plus x. So its limit of x tends to 0 for 2 minus 2 minus x over 2 multiply 2 plus x, all of it divided by x, which is equal negative x divided by 2 multiply 2 plus x divided by x. By simplifying x with x, so it's negative 1 over 2 times 2 plus x. Limit of x tends to 0. limit of x tends to 0. So I will plug in x with 0, so 2 plus 0, which is equal to, so it's gonna be negative 1 over 4. Negative 1 over 4. Number 5, when I plug in x with 0, is gonna be 2 plus 0, which is 2 power 3 is 8, so it will give me 0 over 0, so I need to solve. The best method of solve these questions is to expand the bracket. Expand the bracket. 2 plus x to the power of 3. And 2 plus x to the power of 3, you can expand it as 2 plus x squared multiply by 2 plus x, which is 4 plus 4x plus x squared multiplied by 2 plus x, or you can use the binomial theorem, the one that you have studied in the first term. And some students know how to factorize how to expand the bracket to the power of 3. First term to the power of 3, which is 8. Last term, which is x power 3. Then twice the first term multiply the second. And if you don't know, you can use this method. 4 by 2 is 8. 4 by x is 4x. 4x by 2 is 8x. 4x by x is 4x squared plus 2x squared plus x power 3. You figure out 8 and 4 is 12. So this is 12x plus 4 and 2, 6x power 2 divided by x. After cancelling this one, its limit x tends to 0. Positive 8 with negative 8 is 0. And by taking x as a highest common factor, it's going to be 12 plus 6x plus x squared over x. I gotta divide by x. So its limit when x tends to 0 for 12 plus 6x plus x squared, which is equal to 12 after plugging in x with 0. Limit of x tends to 0 for sine 2x over x. We know that limit of x tends to 0 for sine x over x is equal to 1. So put this in your mind. So by dividing up by x, so sine 2x over x and x over x. So down is 1, and this can be written as limit x tends to 0 and limit of x tends to 0. So this is 1 and this is 2. So 2 over 1, which is equal to 2. Number 7. All the questions I'm going to look forward to find the value of sine x over x. So sine x over 2x squared minus x. I can start by taking x as a highest common factor, so it's gonna be 2x minus 1. And limit of sine x over x multiplied by 2x minus 1. So this one, its limit is 1. So it can be written as 1 over 2x minus 1. Limit of x tends to 0. After replacing this value with 1. And then I'm going to replace x with 0. So 2 by 0 minus 1, which is equal 1 over negative 1, which is equal to negative 1. So the final answer is negative 1. Limit of x tends to 0 for x plus sine x over x. Of course, I can't take a highest common factor here, but I can divide all the terms of the equation by x. So x divided by x plus sine x over x divided by x. So it's going to be limit of x tends to 0 for 1 plus 1 over 1, which is equal to 2. So limit of this function is equal to 2, as 1 plus 1 is 2 over 1 is equal to 2. Now, limit of sine square x over x. This one can be written as sine x multiplied by sine x over x. And we said that this value is equal to 1. So its limit x tends to 0 for sine x, and sine 0 is equal to 0. Number 10, x power 3 minus 125 and x minus 5. After plugging in the value of x with 5, the answer will be 0 over 0. So I got to factorize. This is difference of 2 cubes, so small bracket with big one. So this sign is negative, so the small one is negative. Opposite to it, and last sign is always positive. X power 3 is x and x squared. 125 is 5 by 25. How I figure it out? I know that cubic root of 125 is 5. So I'm adding 5 here, and 5 multiply itself is 25. Then I'm going to multiply x by 5, which is 5x over x minus 5. After cancelling x minus 5 with x minus 5, so its limit when x tends to 5 for x squared plus 5x plus 25, which is equal to 5 squared plus 5 by 5 plus 25, which is equal to 25 plus 25 plus 25, which is equal to 75.